Friends, this week I learned that our president was awarded a peace prize. I don't know if any of you heard about this, but FIFA, this is the big overseers of international football, some of you might know that as soccer, they created an award. They created a peace award and gave it to our president for bringing people around the world together. At least that's what the prize is supposed to be for. That's what it says it's supposed to be for. I have a feeling that the higher-ups of FIFA were realizing that the World Cup is coming to the US and Canada and Mexico next year, and they wanted to try to smooth things over with some of our leaders to make things a little bit easier to getting international people from all over the world, perhaps even some parts of the world who some people may refer to as third world countries, to enter into this place of abundance and prosperity. But that just might be my cynical side. But it got me thinking, as did the text for today, as did the theme of this Sunday of Advent, about peace. And what indeed is peace? The prophet Isaiah tells us, clearly paints a picture, a vision for us of what peace will really look like. There will be no death or destruction on God's holy mountain. Predator and prey will graze together. They will live together. They will feast together on the abundance that is here in this place. And Isaiah even refers to a ruler, a leader, who will bring peace. And this is, of course, the cessation of war, the stopping of physical violence in that respect. But Isaiah talks more than about that sort of peace, that ending of that kind of violence. He talks about caring for poor people as being what peace looks like realized. So, as in my reading, in my studying, I was finding regular rulers. It said in one of these commentaries, a normal ruler, of course, will help take care of other elites, other people in places of power. You want to maintain those allegiances, those alliances, and maintain the peace, the so-called peace, so you're not going at war with each other, so they aren't challenging your power, trying to take away your place. But the people who had those rights, they were landowners. What about everybody else? This ruler, this leader, this guide, Isaiah says, will care for the rights of the poor, the so-called no-counts, the nobodies in society. That's what it is to bring about peace. Coretta Scott King reminds us what violence can look like. Yes, violence is war. Violence is guns. Yes, that is there. And she says poverty is violence. Poverty is violence. Like not taking care of school children, not offering equitable education for our kids is violence. Not offering health care for our people who need it. All of us need it. We all are fallible. We all are limited and finite, as Kyle reminded us. We won't live forever, and we'll go through hard stuff. We need help, not attending to that, not providing care for folks in need, whether that be the hunger, whether that be a medical need, whether that be a friendship, a safe space, a house, a home, shelter. If we aren't providing that, we are perpetuating violence. And again, I think about this award that FIFA offered this person who's in this place of power who stood up and said, I stopped 8 wars. He said that when he was being given this award by FIFA. I ended 8 wars. 8 wars. No one else has ever done that. And I thought, how many people are going hungry because of this so-called big, beautiful bill that you pushed through? How many people will not have access to health care because our legislators are not going to put forward, or may not, have not yet, put forward a plan to extend the Affordable Care Act. And we don't have universal health care. Friends, I think that's really what we should have in the first place. But we don't have that. We are not taking care of our people. How many people are being harmed because our borders are being closed off to so many people from so many so-called undesirable countries? Is that the creation of peace? If we read our Bible, if we read our Isaiah, if we listen to what is being said here, we have to answer with a resounding, clear no. Friends, we are invited, we are called to be a part of that you. I like the translation that Kim read for us today, that inclusive version, because it doesn't say he. It's always about a he is going to be the ruler, one leader, but it says you. I think that invites us. It calls us. I think Jesus invited us and calls us to be a part of realizing this world, this reality, this peace. And you might think, it's too big. It's just too big. I don't have $1.5 million to give to the church. I can't change the whole world. I can't even change the whole state of Indiana and get them to stop taking away people's power of their vote. I can't do it. And that's where the beginning of this text speaks so profoundly. A shoot will spring forth from the stump of Jesse. Where things seemed hopeless, where all hope seemed lost, life springs forth in the beauty of a sprout, a shoot, one little sprout. And it can make all the difference. Because that sprout won't stay small, it will continue to grow. And I remind you, friends, like this actually happens in the real world. You can cut a tree off, and there can be a stump there, and something will grow from it. And it is fueled and it is fed by none other than the roots that are down there in the ground that are still being able to suck up nutrients and water. We've been thinking about the past 200 years. Those are our roots. That they are still continuing to feed us and to fuel us. It may feel like we have been cut off at our trunk and all we have left is a stump. But friends, the hopeful message is right here before us. A shoot will spring forth, and it is springing forth. I see it before me today. Shoots are springing forth from the stump of First United Church. We, friends, are called and invited and being inspired and are being empowered and fed and nurtured to bring about that beautiful, peaceful, just world that Isaiah envisions for us, lays out for us today. And I'll remind you that the world looked bleak when he was proclaiming this this word, this message. There was death and destruction all around. And yet he looked to nature. He looked to the nature of God. Who indeed is the divine? Who do we profess God to be? Who have you experienced God to be? God is one who proclaims peace. God is one who desires and institutes and instigates joy. God is one who loves us unboundedly, without end, steadfastly. Friends, I trust that. That is why I am filled with hope. That is why I do what I do. That is why I am who I am. Friends, these are some of those things. This is some of that message of hope for peace being actually possible, because you are here. We are here. We may be small. We may feel like we are insignificant, but we are powerful. And when we bring that together, we can spring forth into a beautiful new tree. We can proclaim peace and realize peace and spread that peace, that well-being, that justice, that shalom, that not just enoughness, but abundance, where we are, and to share it with all whom we meet, everywhere we go. It's that drop in the bucket of water, or that drop in the ocean that has the ripple effects and continues to grow and to grow and to add and to add. So friends, you are invited to share your gifts, to offer your beauty that God has bestowed you with, that God invites out of you for you to share. Friends, that's some of what I've been thinking about. As we come to the end of our stewardship campaign, inviting you to bring whatever gifts you have. Some of them will be financial, and if it is a small financial gift, it is appreciated. If it is a large financial gift, it is appreciated. If it is somewhere in the middle, it is appreciated, and it will add to the growth, the appreciation of the ministry we do together. Friends, I'm going to give you a moment to reflect, to consider how the divine is inviting you to share yourself. That together we might work with the divine and with one another to realize this vision that peace is indeed possible. Friends, let us be together now for a moment of quiet. Let us be together now for a moment of meditation. Let us be together now for a moment of pause.